All right, today we're going to start off this video sweaty. So right now I'm in the process of moving stuff around in my garage because this Friday I am getting a new garage door. And that's what this video is going to be about. Hey, Steven, the name of your channel is Do Everything. Why are you having somebody put in your garage door? Well, there's a few reasons for that. The second question that's probably being asked is, hey, your garage door looks just fine. Why are you getting a new garage door? So let's answer those questions in order. First off, the reason why I'm having somebody put in a garage door is because these springs at the top of the door hold a lot of tension. These doors weigh a few hundred pounds. They don't look it. They look really cheap and thin, but they're pretty heavy. And these springs give enough force to lift up the door and hold it in balance in the middle. So the little tiny motors that they put in, hold on, let's get it in frame, that they put in these can actually have the power to lift up the door. This is actually a pretty decent system. I don't mind it, but I do have a couple problems with it, and I am upgrading it to a different kind of system. I'm not doing the overhead lift over here. I'm doing the jack shaft opener that goes right there. So I gotta move all of this stuff out of the way so the guys that are coming have room to work. So the reason I'm getting a garage door is because a couple years ago in my town, we had a little bit of an earthquake.
California on edge overnight as residents try to recover from back-to-back violent earthquakes.
Get under the table, get under the table. Oh my God.
While still bracing for aftershock.
That earthquake caused damage to mine. I've been limping it along for the last 2 years until I had enough time and money, or mostly money, to be able to get a new garage door. What happened was this support right here in these systems of this garage door opener type where it comes up and holds to the middle of the garage door. This is actually the weakest part of the whole door. There was a different opener in here at one time, which mounted down here. This cross brace is supposed to give rigidity across, if you can see it, this cross brace right here is supposed to give rigidity across the top of the door. And they had it mounted, if you can see it, they had it mounted down here with the old door, or the old door opener. With the new door opener, which was here when I bought the house, they mounted it to the top, which is the weakest part of the door. So in that earthquake, this whole section of the door just cracked right down the middle. I reinforced it with a couple braces and bent this bracket back right here so it would open still. But since then, the garage door hasn't been the same, and I've been limping it along here. I could theoretically fix that. I could probably, tack weld that back together and do it real slow and bend it back in and put everything in place. But the other reason why I'm getting a garage door is because this door has seen better days. And I could paint it, but it's got like BB marks all over the door from the previous owner. Granted, the new garage door is going to be white, so I'm not a fan of the color of my house to begin with. I call it custard and rust, the special. So getting a white garage door, and then I have an excuse to paint the house because this paint is still holding together okay, but it's just ugly. So what happens is that every time it opens and closes, let's see if I can get it on camera, it bounces. It's worse on the way up. So what happens with the door bouncing on its way up, I think I showed you that. I'll get another shot of it in just a second. These bolts keep coming loose and pulling out of the steel. There's basically nothing left for these screws to hold into anymore in that door. So it's not worth the safety hazard of risking it. Let's do another, I don't know if you can tell, I'm a dirt bike guy. This bike right here is my brother's. We're gonna do a video on that in the future. He needs some maintenance done on it, and we're going to show you how to check all of the pieces and the different joints and bearings to see if they're good or not. Anyway, off of that tangent, this garage door bounces on the way up. It's supposed to be smooth, and it's not. So that causes these bolts to pull out. And if these bolts pull out and nobody's paying attention, the door can fall on somebody. Usually there's somebody there or somebody around when the garage doors opening or closing, and then that creates, you know, a security hazard where people can enter. The other reason why I'm having somebody install this, because after you pay for the new opener and the new garage door and everything, their labor is extremely insignificant. It's like $200 for 2 guys to come. They can do it way faster than I can. They have all the tools, they have the experience, so I won't get hurt. So there's so much tension on these springs, which I didn't mention earlier. There's so much tension on these springs that if this cable snaps or whatever, it can take off people's fingers. So I don't want to deal with that. And those guys are experts. They install garage doors all day, every day. So they're going to be able to way faster than I can. And I don't want to have the security hazard of me building my own garage door. So that's why I'm having somebody else put in a garage door. I don't want the risk involved. These springs, those cables, they can take off people's fingers. They can fillet them or deglove them. If you haven't seen degloving, don't look it up. It's really gross, but I don't want to take that risk on myself. I like my hands and my fingers to be able to work properly. So I'm going to pay the professionals that deal with this stuff all the time to do it. But we will talk to them about what they think about garage doors and different improvements you can do, and when they recommend people get a garage door. But for me, I want to get a garage door, like I said, for safety. But anyway, the rest of this video is going to be, I'm going to talk to the garage door opener people or the garage door installers and see what they say. If they think this installation is good, the traditional installation, or if they would rather people switch over to the jack shaft opener. I'm thinking the jack shaft opener is going to be better in the long run because I'm not going to have an opener pulling on the door in the center of the door every time it opens up. So we'll go to the rest of the video with them. It's going to be another day for me, but it's going to be no time for you. All right, so we got the new garage door installed. They gave us a new torsion tube, new springs, new door, and new track. So he got it done in about 3 hours, and he was by himself mostly. It would have probably taken me a couple weekends to be able to get this done by myself, because even the way they unloaded the panels from the truck, they put them in a certain order, in a certain direction, so they didn't have to flip them around a whole bunch of times, like trying to flip them in the garage to get them to line up properly. So that's a huge plus. What he did, well, I asked him what he thought. He didn't want to come on camera, so I respected his wishes and I kept him off camera. So the first thing he started was detensioning those springs, and they have a lot of tension on them. So they have printing on them. So I have a 7-foot door. So he said that this spring needs to have about 7 turns in it of tension, and that's where they start. So all of these lines were words printed on the spring without any tension on it. So that's the number one reason. The guy, I told you about degloving, how I didn't want to have degloving on or happen to me because I like my fingers. The guy that came to install the door was actually missing a thumb. So another reason why I didn't want to do something like this myself. So he did a good job. It took a little bit of time, but it came out pretty good. I just have a couple of little complaints about it. One of them being, for some reason, that this button that they installed doesn't work. And I'll show you that right now. So this button right here is supposed to have a screen that shows up, but no worky. So I called the company. They're going to come back and make sure. For some reason, he didn't check to make sure that part worked before he left, and I didn't check before he left either. But the button works. The car remote button works to open the garage. And it's nice and smooth. So Anyway, if you're wondering how much getting a new garage door costs, with install and everything here, this cost me about $2,000 with the opener that connects to Wi-Fi and getting all the stuff plugged in, all the new parts. So the other thing I like about this opener is that I didn't know this before. It came with this little block right here that as soon as the garage door is closed, it locks it. So it keeps your garage a little more secure. That doesn't prevent anybody from chopping through.
Here's Johnny.
Since it's thin metal, and it's actually thinner than my old door, but it came insulated. It's pretty nice. So anyway, he had the same consensus I did about when to replace a garage door when it starts becoming a safety hazard. You know, if something's messed up or broken on it. He said that these springs are rated for 10,000 cycles. So that's usually 8 to 10 years for most people. So hopefully I won't need a garage door for the next 8 to 10 years. Then he said standard maintenance was to silicone these joints and a little bit of spray inside the hinges here and the wheels where they everywhere metal touches metal, to use a bit of silicone lubricant, and then it'll keep your garage functioning nicely without having a lot of problems. Anyway, I don't recommend earthquakes on garage doors. It's not fun. Anyway, subscribe if you want to see the motorcycle stuff happening. Also, somebody is dropping off an ATV, a quad, for me to work on. So we'll get some videos about that in the future. So if you want to see some of the principles of working on machinery, if you liked the Honda CRF50 video that I did, we're going to do some more stuff more in depth on this and on the Quad Boss. Not on the Quad Boss, the King Quad that's being dropped off in just a little bit of time. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one.